viewers. Welcome to Functions TV. Keep watching, keep learning. In today's video, I'll be concentrating more on likely question from Neco 2022 Biology Practical Examination. But before I proceed, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Mr. Francis, and I also encourage my viewers to subscribe or click on the subscription button to follow up with the latest update on this particular channel. In today's video, I'll be concentrating more on the likely question from 2022 Biology Practical Examination. Kindly click on the subscription button and make use of the comment section to ask for your e-note. For Biology Examination 2022, Specimen A happens to be microscope. And some of the likely questions that can actually come out from Specimen A is number 1, draw and label Specimen A. Draw and label. Number 2, they can also ask for the importance or the function of a Specimen A. What is Specimen A used for? Now, apart from that, they can also ask us to itemize or list some of the major parts of Specimen A and their functions. Examples such as arm, what's the arm used for? The stage, what is the stage used for? The revolving lens, what's the revolving lens used for? Illuminating light, what is the purpose of illuminating light? All these questions, you can actually get an answer to them using my e-note. Now, under Specimen A, they can also ask you to list types of Specimen A, types of microscope. Give other examples of types of microscope. We have the light microscope, we have the simple microscope, we have the electron microscope. I'll be moving quickly towards Specimen B. For Specimen B, Specimen B for Neco exam happens to be bright mango fruit. Some of the likely questions that can actually be asked from Specimen B is number 1, describe the observable features of Specimen B. Describe the observable features of Specimen B. How does Specimen B look like? Now, when they ask you to describe the features of Specimen B, that means they are telling you to talk about the seed it possesses, the nature of the seed. Is the seed hard or soft? They are asking you to talk about the endocarp, mesocarp, and exocarp. Now, apart from the observable features, now for Specimen B, they can also ask you for the agent of disperser. What is the agent of disperser for Specimen B? Now, and also give what reason. Can ask you for the agent of disperser. For Specimen B, they can also ask you for the placentation of what Specimen B. What type of placentation does what Specimen B possess? And they can also ask you to give reason for your what answer. Now, apart from that, again, they can also ask you for the agricultural classification of what Specimen B according to its life cycle. Now, they can ask you for the agricultural classification. They can also ask you for this. They can also ask you for the scientific name of what Specimen B. They can also ask you for the what advantage or what is the importance of what consumption of what Specimen B. They can also ask you what type of food is what Specimen B. All these questions, you can actually get an answer to them using my what e-note. I'll be moving quickly to what Specimen C. Now, Specimen C happens to be the transverse section of a tomato. Under the transverse section of tomato, some of the likely questions, they can ask you to what talk about the observable features of what Specimen C. They can ask you to draw a diagram showing what Specimen C. Apart from that, again, they can also ask you for the agent of what disperser of what Specimen C. They can also ask you what type of food is what Specimen C. They can also ask you for the placentation of what Specimen what C. They can also ask you to classify Specimen C based on its life cycle. They can also ask you to classify Specimen C based on its what uses. Specimen C happens to be a vegetable. They can also ask you for the importance of what consumption of what Specimen C. Now, the likely question that can also come out from Specimen C, they can ask you to talk about the differences between Specimen B and Specimen C. Differences, both of them are fruits, but they are different from each other. Specimen B happens to be a drupe, while Specimen C is what a berry. They can ask you for the differences between Specimen B and Specimen C. And apart from that, again, they can also ask you to talk about the similarities. What are the similarities between Specimen B and Specimen C? These are some of the likely questions to be expected in this year biology examination. You can kindly click on the word comment section, ask for your e-note. In my e-note, you have answers to all these questions. Now, we're moving straight towards specimen D. Specimen D happens to be a groundnut seed. Groundnut seed. Now, for specimen C too, they can ask us for the life cycle of specimen D. The life cycle. What is the life cycle of specimen D? Then apart from that again, they can ask us for the agricultural classification of what specimen D. According for specimen C, which happens to be the groundnut seed. Some of the likely question. Number one, they can ask you for the life cycle of what groundnut seed. They can ask you for the agricultural classification of groundnut based on their what uses. They can ask you for the mode of propagation of what groundnut. They can ask you for the materials or the materials stored in what in groundnut seed. They can also ask you for the importance of what the consumption of what groundnut seed. They can also ask you for the importance of what groundnut seed. Groundnut seed happens to be a leguminous plant, and because of that, it helps to prevent soil erosion, and it also helps to convert atmospheric nitrogen to nitrate. Now, we're moving straight towards specimen E, which happens to be the maize grain. Under specimen E, some of the likely questions that can come from specimen E, they can also ask us to talk about the observable features of specimen E. What are the observable features of specimen E? They can ask us for the life cycle of specimen E. They can also ask us to classify specimen E based on their uses. They can also ask us to talk about the scientific or botanical name of specimen E. They can also ask us to talk about some of the pests and diseases affecting specimen E. They can also ask us for the class of food in which specimen E belongs to. They can also ask us for the importance of the consumption of specimen E. Now, all these questions, answers have been provided to this question in my e-note. Kindly ask for your e-note using the comment section. I'll be moving straight towards specimen F, which happens to be the carrot. Specimen F, carrot. Now, for the carrot, some of the likely questions for carrot, they can ask us for the mode of propagation. What are the mode of propagation of carrots? They can ask us what type of crop is carrots. They can ask us for the importance of the consumption of carrots. They can also ask us to talk about the life cycle of carrots. And they can also ask us to talk about the observable features or the biological importance of carrot seed. Some biological importance of some certain features of carrots. I'll be moving straight towards specimen G, which is Irish potato. Now, for the Irish potato, they can also ask us for the importance of consumption of Irish potato. They can ask us for the mode of propagation. They can ask us for the materials or the minerals stored in Irish potato. They can ask us to classify Irish potato into stem, tuber, or root crop. Those are some of the likely questions that can be asked from Irish potato. I'll be moving straight towards specimen H, which happens to be water lily. Now, under water lily, they can ask us the type of plant water lily is classified to be. Now, water lily happens to be an hydrophyte because it can survive in a place where there is excess water. And they can also ask us to talk about the adaptive mechanism. What are the adaptation of water lily? What are the structures? What are the features water lily possess that is enabling it to survive in its environment? These are some of the likely questions to be expected from water lily. I'll be moving straight to specimen I, which happens to be the prawn. Now, for specimen I, some of the likely questions, they can ask us for the kingdom, they can ask us for the phylum, they can ask us for the class. Now, when we are providing the phylum, they can ask you reason for placing prawn into this particular phylum. Now, prawn happens to belongs to the phylum Arthropoda. They can ask you for the reason for placing prawn under the phylum Arthropoda. These are some of the likely questions under specimen I. They can also ask you for the adaptive features of prawn. What are the adaptive features? What features does prawn possess? There is enabling the prawn to survive in its environment. Now, moving straight to specimen J. Specimen J happens to be tilapia fish. Now, under tilapia fish, they can ask us for the habitat of tilapia fish. They can ask us for the adaptive features of tilapia fish. They can also ask us for the observable features of what tilapia fish. They can ask us to talk about some of the observable features that we can see, such as the fin, the gills, the lateral line, possession of streamlined bodies, the structure of the mouth. They can ask us to talk about the what observable features of what tilapia fish and talk about the importance of such what features. They can also ask us to talk about the adaptive what mechanism of what tilapia fish. What are the adaptive mechanism of tilapia fish that is making tilapia fish to cope in its what environment. They can ask us for the similarities between specimen I and specimen J, and they can also ask us for the differences between specimen I and specimen J. Without wasting much of my time, I will be talking about specimen K, which happens to be tadpole. Now, for tadpole, some of the likely questions that we should be looking at for tadpole, they can ask us what's the adult form of tadpole called. They can ask us for the features or the adaptive features of tadpole. What are the features of tadpole? What are the adaptive features? The biological importance of some part of the what tadpole. They can also ask us for the differences between tadpole and tilapia fish. They can also ask us for the similarities between what tadpole and tilapia fish. And for tilapia fish, some of the likely questions, they can ask us to classify tadpole into their kingdom, the phylum, and also the what the classes of what tadpole. I'll be talking about the last one, which happens to be spider. Now, for spider, some of the likely questions, they can ask us to draw and label the diagram of spider. That is number one. They can ask us to talk about the kingdom of spider, the phylum, and the class. They can also ask us to give reason why spider is classified under the phylum of Arthropoda. They can also ask us to talk about the differences between specimen I and specimen L. Specimen I is prawn and specimen L is what spider. The differences between prawn and spider. They can also ask us for the similarities between prawn and what spider. Now, kindly subscribe, click on the subscription button, follow me up, and also ask questions using the what comment section. Your e-notes will be provided to you once you ask for it. Thank you very much. Keep watching.